While Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu are no longer on the same page, Trump's Iran deal has put Netanyahu in a tight spot. Domestic pressure and geopolitical realities are creating a perfect political storm for the Israeli Prime Minister before he goes to a high-stakes electoral battle later this year. Strategic alignment between Israel and the United States is unraveling in Lebanon. Benjamin Netanyahu has refused to order the withdrawal of troops from southern Lebanon. He says that Israel will maintain operational autonomy against Hezbollah. Donald Trump is not happy with Netanyahu's stance. In fact, he's openly criticized Israel for blanket bombing of apartments to kill a particular Hezbollah operative. He said that Israel should let Syria handle Hezbollah.
I'll tell you what, Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody, because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses, and they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you. And I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of Hezbollah. Because to be honest with you, I think they do a better job of doing it.
As Trump pushes Netanyahu to retreat from southern Lebanon, opposition leaders are cornering him on the handling of the Iran war. Israel's former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett and the opposition leader Yair Lapid criticized Netanyahu, questioning if Israel has achieved its goals. Opposition leader Yair Lapid slammed Netanyahu, calling his diplomatic strategy on Iran an absolute failure and claiming that the Prime Minister had lost the war. Lapid warned that the deal puts Israel in a difficult position, balancing between its right to self-defense and confronting its closest ally, the United States. He insisted that under a Bennett-Lapid government, Israel wouldn't have gotten into this situation. Criticizing Benjamin Netanyahu, he said that the Prime Minister surrounded himself with clowns, cynics, and people who received money from Qatar. He also added that the 7th October 2023 attack is when people learn Netanyahu can no longer protect Israel's citizens. And on the 15th of June in 2026, they learned that he can no longer manage a diplomatic campaign. Former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, who is also seen as a contender in the upcoming elections, warned that he would be its worst nightmare if he returns to power. He promised an uncompromising stance to prevent Tehran from acquiring nuclear weapons, adding that he will not relent if he leads the new government in Israel. But despite the criticism, Netanyahu struck an optimistic note in a televised address, claiming that he intends to win the upcoming elections.
First of all, I'm very touched by your concern, whether I run or not. I understand. So I want to reassure you, yes, I'm going to run, and I also intend to win.
The political slugfest comes at a time when Benjamin Netanyahu faces a corruption trial. If the verdict goes against him, he could be barred from running in the upcoming elections. Let me welcome my guests on the broadcast today. Alex Treman, CEO and Jerusalem Bureau Chief of Jewish News Syndicate, is joining us live on the broadcast from Jerusalem. Alex, good evening. Welcome to WION. I want to start by understanding from you the fact that despite so much of political pressure on Prime Minister Netanyahu and the kind of legal pressure that he faces as far as corruption trial is concerned, what makes him so confident that he will win the upcoming elections?
Well, it's not clear that he'll win, but he still leads in the polls. He's the leader of the largest party in the country and continues to poll that way, higher than any of the other candidates. So you have a complicated parliamentary system where you need to get a coalition of many parties. But meanwhile, the Likud party of Netanyahu is still the most popular. Netanyahu is at the same time the most popular and the most unpopular candidate in the state of Israel.
Mm-hmm. So, Alex, as far as the opposition is concerned, the coalition of Naftali Bennett and Yair Lapid, they have been promising that they would get Iran to sort of, not have nuclear weapons long term without any kinetic action, without any war. So, is that kind of sentiment finding favor among the Israelis?
Most Israelis, even the ones that question Netanyahu, don't really question the way he's run the war. Now, the opposition is trying to position this Iran deal between Trump and the Iranians as a major diplomatic loss for Netanyahu, but there's still a very large percentage of the country that believes that Netanyahu is the one best suited and best positioned to navigate through these very complicated diplomatic waters and to manage a difficult relationship with a difficult president in Donald Trump.
Alex, one of the arguments that the opposition is making at the moment is the fact that not just his own corruption trials against him at the moment, but Prime Minister Netanyahu is also under pressure from his own coalition partners, Smotrich and Ben-Gvir. And they say that, look, it is because of them that he is not really retreating or withdrawing from this war. Plus, of course, his own kind of legal tussles that are going on within Israel.
Well, the corruption trials really have not any impact on this current election. There's not going to be any change to the status quo between now and the election. And Israelis have already voted many times. We've had 5 elections in the last 9 years. All of them were based off of whether Israelis thought that Netanyahu should be the prime minister amidst the corruption charges. So that's unlikely to affect the voting. In terms of the coalition members, they would actively support Netanyahu again in another government because if Yair Lapid and Naftali Bennett get into power, the whole government's going to shift over from the right to the left. And quite frankly, most Israelis have been shifting to the right before October 7th, and certainly after October 7th. It is the policies of the right that seem to have taken hold in the political center.
All right, so we'll have to wait and see how this moves forward and what really happens as far as the political and electoral fate of Benjamin Netanyahu is concerned. I'll leave it there. Alex, thanks very much for joining us at the moment.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.